That's always been a problem with us in the first place, though.
It is.
Is our
It has.
unity, our
It has.
unity, our unity. Can I tell you a story real
Sure,
quick?
I'd love to hear it.
Okay, there was a guy I knew who was a big time drug dealer pushing mad weight. He was one of the biggest in New York City. And he was telling us, me and my boy and shit, Artie Fuqua, he was telling us, I ain't afraid of shit. I ain't afraid of nothing. He goes, but I went to China to make this deal with the mafia over there, the triads and shit.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm talking to these dudes. And he goes, I ain't never been afraid of shit. But when I got into their like
You in
headquarters,
there, yeah.
they were so organized. It was scaring the shit out of me. They were so calm and so organized. They were sharp. And the guy, he's talking to the head dude, and he goes, and they're just having a small talk. He goes, you know, the one thing about black people, he says, you guys you're the trendsetters. Everybody copy black people. You're so creative. Your music, your style. Everybody like black people. We jealous of you. But the one thing you don't have is unity. Very easy to break you up. Wow. And this is in the drug game. He says we don't
He ain't
even.
lie, though.
He says we can't even organize crime. Wow. We can't even organize crime. Everybody got mafia, Italian, right? There's supposedly
Russian.
gay mafia, Russian mafia. We got Irish mafia, and black folks can't even organize crime. Shame. It's the same with comics. I'm sorry, we do not help each other. And I know guys that talk shit about me. I know guys that shit on me all the time, but I keep it moving. And it's a shame because I'm not going around talking about shit, and I like helping people. If I can help, I'm the first motherfucker to try and help. I do. But some cats will block you out, don't want you to have shit. You know, there's other gatekeepers
Right.
within the gatekeepers.
All right, shalawam. First off, I want to say all praises to Yahawah, bahasham Yahawashi, bahasham Kodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of GMS, to the elect doing the work in sincerity and in truth. Shalawam. There's GMS precepts. There's our khud here. And Lord willing, you're able to see that edited video I put in the beginning of this video here. And it was, like I said, it was a screenshot. Hopefully it doesn't get flagged, but that audio you heard was Godfrey. He was going into how a friend of his was told by a Moab how they view us, right? How they view so-called Negroes. And he said the number one problem that we have is that you guys don't unite, right? And he made a good point. And this is how we're viewed by the other nations. Right? You know what? Since I said that, let me start off with Lamentations, the second chapter. This is how they view us. Okay? All right. And if you go into Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, which I have as well, it explains the position that we're in, which is on the bottom. And if we're on the bottom, the other nations are going to be over us. All right. That's why their life is a lot easier for them than it is for us. They're able to provide for their family a lot easier than we do. I'm not saying they don't have poverty, but as far as ranking system, we're way on the bottom. Actually, they have a chart as far as here in America. Let's just talk about here in America, which the majority of Israelites are anyway. As far as nations, as far as how much a household brings in income-wise, we're on the bottom. So-called Negroes are on the bottom. I believe who's number one? I believe it's the East Indians. They're number one as far as top earners here in America. But let me go into the Lamentations, the second chapter. But the point he made, he was like, yo, it hit me. He said, yo, you guys can't even organize crime correctly. And that's true. That goes into the curses. I'm going to get that too. I'm sort of jumping around here. But let me go into Lamentations 2 and 15, right? And it reads, all that pass by clap their hands at thee. They hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, is this a city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? And that's exactly how they see us, man. Every nation, whether it be Moab, Ishmael, Ham, okay, Amalek, all the nations, they view us and they say, man, is this the... Look at these people, man. You know? which is all done by design, right? But ultimately, it's the Most High that's allowing it, right? Because one way they one method they use to just put Jake to look like buffoons, um, you know, you know, in front of the nations is music, right? Like who's picking these people that that represent the nation of Israel, right? Or the tribe of Judah. I mean, if sexy this girl, Sexy Red, if she can get a record deal, like how do we go from Whitney Houston, Lauryn Hill to Sexy Red? I mean, she's on the top of the trip, but she's been placed in a position to represent the black women. Anyway, I can go on. But they look at that. But as far as this dude, this Moab drug dealer, he was looking at it like Jake, like, yo, you guys are highly influential, but you guys, it's very easy to break you up. But what he doesn't understand is that's part of the curses, which I have here in Deuteronomy. But let me continue in Lamentations. It says, all thine enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash their teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. Certainly this is the day that we look for we have looked for, we have found it, we have seen it. Okay? And you best believe not only Moab, but all the other nations, they look at us and say, yeah, we got them, you know? Because if they're above us, right, then that means they're going to be able to enjoy some of the benefits, right? Nobody wants to be on that bottom position. Israel right now is on the bottom right now, but little do they know, the same entity that allowed us to be on the bottom is the same entity or power that's going to allow us to be on top again. So these other nations, and this is why the Most High's fear, he allowed these other nations to have their turn. But the next one up, the next nation up to rule and to have that to be that top mountain on the earth is the nation of Israel. Right? It says, I read this last verse, it said, the Lord hath done it, the Lord hath done that which he had devised. He hath fulfilled his word that he commanded in the days of old, right? Which was, if you do not abide by my law, statute, commandments, guess what? I'm going to allow these other nations to rule over you, to rule and be over you. And you're going to be on the bottom. Okay, that's the word that he commanded from the days of old, right? That's why he commanded us to follow these laws, statutes, and commandments, or else this, and that will happen, right? He hath thrown down and hath not pitied, and he hath caused thine enemy to rejoice over thee. He hath set up the horn of thine adversaries, right? Horn means like power. That represents power. He hath set up the horn or like a kingdom or a power structure over that of thine adversaries, right? He allowed these other nations to become very powerful. Okay, and all nations are adversaries or enemies of the nation of Israel. Okay, so real quick, let me go back to Deuteronomy 28 and 54, right? Going into how us being very combative toward each other or have no love for each other, and then he was going into how it's the same way in the comedic or the comedy community. It's the same way. Like everybody's backstabbing each other. Nobody really wants to see the other comedian succeed. It's the same way in all avenues, whether it's sports, whether it's business, whether it's the drug world. No, Jake always wants to keep the next Jake down, right? But that all goes back to the curses. That's all it says it right here, the Deuteronomy, the 20th chapter, 54th verse. I'll read it. Right? And mind you, this is all the curses. You go from verse 15, right? All the way down, right? Consequences of disobedience, right? Blessings at Gerizim. I don't know. I'm probably butchering that word, but these are the blessings, right? If you hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord, thy power, right? Verse 21 all the way down to 14, and then 15 all the way down to 68, I believe. That's the last verse, right? 68 go into all the curses. All right, and those are a lot of curses, as you can see, right? But going back down to 54, it says, I'll read that, Deuteronomy 50, 28 and 54. It says, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother. And then it continues on. It says, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave, right? And we can see that. I mean, you know, Jake has a hatred for his brother. Jake has a hatred for his wife, the black woman or the Latino woman, and he has a hatred for his children. Now, trust me, there are a lot of factors to that, but it's still, they still, overall, in general, Jake has a hatred for their brother and their sister. You know, where you go into other communities, a lot of things wouldn't go down the way they do in a so-called black, so-called Latino, and so-called Native American community. It would just never happen, right? That's one of the things Kanye was saying. He was saying that these other nations, particularly Amalek, they all stick together. But Jake, they always backstab each other. What he didn't understand was that's part of the curses, man. It says, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother. Okay, and that doesn't need much breakdown, because you can see that if you, like, a nigga like will shoot you if you look at him wrong, or if you step on his sneakers or whatever. But if a Edomite does that, they get a pass, right? So what he didn't understand, Godfrey doesn't understand, is that's all part of the curses, man. That's all biblical. Okay. That's pretty much what. Let me see if I can get another version. I was looking at this is Bible Hub, right? Deuteronomy 28:54. Let's see the NIV. It says, even the most gentle and sensitive man among you will have no compassion on his brother or the wife he loves or his surviving children, right? That's the NAV, right? We'll read the NLT version. It says, the most tender-hearted, mind you, this is Deuteronomy 28:54. The most tender-hearted among you will have no compassion for his brother, his beloved wife, and his surviving children. All right, so, you guys pretty much get the point. That doesn't need too much of a breakdown. They're going to have a lot of hatred toward each other, right? And this is the reason why our people can't really succeed, because we have and Jake might not even really be able to explain it, but that's one of the things, breakdowns or understandings, that allowed me to understand this truth early on. I'm like, oh wow, that makes sense. There is a hatred toward each other. There's a hatred Israelites have against other Israelites. That's definitely true. Right? Early on, that was something that really couldn't be refuted when I first got this, right? So that's pretty much it. I saw that short. I think I saw it on a reel, whether it was Instagram or maybe it was a short on YouTube, and then I just went and got the whole video. I searched it when I got home, and I wanted to do a quick lesson on that. But it basically, it's all part of the curses, man. Right? And the way these other nations view us, that's part of the curses too. Okay? And they know, going into I forgot where it is, but in the Apocrypha it tells you that the nations understood, if they can separate us from the Most High, if they can somehow separate the Israelites from Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, that's how we can take over them and rule them. Right? So they're pretty much, they're licking their chops. They're all happy that we're in the bottom position right now. Okay? But little do they know, us being in that bottom position is we're about to be removed from that bottom position. Why? Pursuing what is that? Lamentations 4:20. our punishment is about to be accomplished. Okay? Alright, so that's pretty much it. That was a lesson. Lord willing, you brothers and sisters were edified. To the next show, shalom.